This is Mark Sobowitz with the Clarion Voice. And today we are happy to have with us Ron Cuff, who is going to be giving his testimony today and telling us about his group, his organization that is involved in trying to prevent addictions. And Ron, thank you so much for being with us today. We really appreciate it. And just to tell us a little bit about your story, how you came to this place of faith in God, and then a little bit about your group.
Well, my faith in God and my faith in Christianity is basically related to belief in a higher power. I think belief in a higher power is crucially important in the aspect of our democracy and how we were founded and how we can maintain our civilization, basically, and uplift all people. But with regard to preventing addiction, I co-founded actually with two other parents, an organization called Safe Launch, safelaunch.org. We did that almost 11 years ago. It's based in Santa Barbara. Obviously, I live in Paso Robles, but it's starting to get some nationwide attention, and our focus is 100% on primary prevention. And when I started the organization, I didn't even really know what primary prevention was until a doctor told me. And speaking of doctors, we're really happy to have Dr. Bob DuPont on our board, one of the foremost addiction specialists in the country. He was the original director of the National Institute of Drug Abuse. And so anyway, once I was informed that primary prevention is exactly what we're doing, and as far as I know, we're the only organization in the country that does strictly primary prevention. We don't do treatment. We don't do interventions. We don't certainly don't do law enforcement. We are focused on preventing addiction where it starts. In 9 out of 10 cases, which most people don't know, is before the age of 18.
Really, that's very interesting. So primary prevention represents, trying to get to what started the person's addictive behavior, so what kind of methods do you use, or what kind of resources do you rely on in order to get to the heart of the person's behavior?
Well, an advantage that we have is that I own an airplane. I'm a former naval aviator, and I have my own plane. So we've gone to 50 different air events, mostly air shows all over the country. And we do something that's fun. We let kids paint the plane. We talk about the importance of a great life being the same as a great flight, really. That's what I tell the kids. A great life is like a great flight. And that means 3 things. Number 1, you have to train for it. Number 2, you have to plan for it, plan your life, plan your flight. Mm-hmm. And most importantly, you have to keep your brain safe. And what kids don't know and what a lot of parents don't know is that the human brain is highly, highly susceptible to addiction, actually all the way up to age 25. But in most cases, if you can keep kids away from drugs and alcohol before age 21, in most cases, they'll be okay.
Okay. So do you have, individual counseling with people? Do you have groups that meet, that allow people to get, some support from other people? Are those things in place as far as part of your program?
Not really. What we've shifted to due to the pandemic is advocacy. We're working on an advocacy program. If you think about the reason we have so much addiction in this culture, approximately 40 million people are suffering from substance use disorder or addiction. We lost 80,000 people to overdose, actually more than 80,000 to overdose last year. So if you think about, why that is, it's important to focus on primary prevention. the old saying, an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure is totally true. The dirty secret is that although addiction can be treated, it's not curable. And even treatment is dicey in that relapse is the norm rather than an exception. People relapse over and over again before they move into long-term treatment and recovery, actually.
Right. So basically, if a person were to come to you and ask, what you can do to help them, how would you direct them, or what would you do if a person made an inquiry?
Well, what we're attempting to do through advocacy is prevent a substance use disorder or prevent an addiction from happening. And a lot of the people that work with us are parents who have lost children to addiction. So they don't need to be educated, and those people are starting to go out to school districts and to youth organizations of all kinds and speak to people about their experience with drugs and alcohol, because it's, talk about a testimony, if you've lost a child to drugs, whether you lost them to death or you lost them because you don't know where they are they living in the riverbed? Are they in jail? Or, where are they? It's just absolutely heartbreaking to hear the testimony of those people who have experienced that. And our objective is to prevent as much of that as possible. We know we can't prevent all of it, but
Right.
if we can prevent even half of what's happening now, we'll be happy.
Do you have in your personal life, do you have any experience, with that? I mean, did you have somebody in your family, go through addictions and the consequences of that, prompted you to?
That's a question we always get, and the thing that's unique about Safe Launch and its founders, the co-founder that I work with is Janet Rouse down in Santa Barbara. Neither one of us have children with addiction problems. Neither one of us have family members, although she had a brother with a substance use disorder that basically disabled him for his entire life, caused major grief to his parents. Closest thing I have to an experience like that is I went to the funeral of a pilot friend of mine whose son committed, well, I don't even know if it was suicide. It might have been accidental. But anyway, he shot himself in the head while under the influence of drugs. And that was quite the funeral.
I can't imagine, the feelings of people that had to, endure that. But if you were to say something to someone directly, who is on the cusp, and is, battling with, addiction, speak to someone in our audience that's viewing this video, and what would you want them to hear?
Well, I think that if you are battling addiction, you have to give your life over to a higher power and realize that you do need help, and you can't overcome addiction. You can't treat yourself. You can't go into recovery by yourself. And I would recommend you go to the nearest 12-step program that you can find.
Okay. Now, if somebody wanted to contact you directly as far as Safe Launch is concerned, would they go to a website, safelaunch.org, or is there any other way that they can contact you?
Absolutely, safelaunch.org. My email is rcuff, R-C-U-F-F, at safelaunch.org. A lot of people put Safe Lunch in or something like that, but it's Safe Launch, as in launching children safely into adulthood without the disease of addiction. And that's the message that we're trying to get across. So that's that's critical. We have to start focusing on that. There's so many things that we can do that we're not doing.
Okay. Ron, thank you so much for being with us today. We really appreciate your insights, and I believe your organization is going to continue to make a difference in people's lives, hopefully by getting them out of the narrow roads of addiction and trying to get them, into a better life. So thank you so much for being here with us. And if you like this video, and if you would like to get in touch with Ron and his organization, it's safelaunch.org. Or you can also get in contact with Ron through his email. That's rcuff at, is it gmail.com? Or
At safelaunch.org.
okay, at safelaunch.org.